Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So it is time for another franchise ranking video, and today guys, as you've seen by the title of the video and this action figure I have with me, I'm going to be ranking one of my favourite franchises of all time in terms of sci-fi and horror, and it's none other than Alien. So guys, in this ranking video, I'll be ranking all 6 of the Alien standalone movies. I will not be including any crossovers, like for example the 2 crossovers with Predator, and because then again, those movies will be covered in future trash talks, because I hate those movies, and yeah. So, I'm only ranking the 6 movies which are standalone Alien movies, guys, and yeah. And also, guys, as a bit of a heads up as well, I'm going to be honest and admit that, you know, while there's 6 movies, I only love 2 of them the most. So, yeah, because there are 2 that I think are, like, you know, okay and mediocre, and I think there's 2 which are absolutely abysmal and really bad, so yeah. And now, let's go on with the ranking, shall we? So, starting with what is my all-time favourite Alien movie ever, and will never ever be topped in my opinion, one of my favourite sci-fi horror action movie franchises of all time, I'm going to definitely go 100% with Aliens, released in 1986, directed by James Cameron, and yeah, I really adore this movie, guys. I consider it to be probably my second favourite movie by James Cameron, right after Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and yeah, this movie is just absolutely awesome, and yeah, we'll get to why. So good qualities is, now, what I love is, I really love how this movie has a very brand new tone compared to the previous movie, where the first movie in a way is kind of like a horror movie, guys, I will admit. Whereas this movie, however, while it does have the elements of scare, thanks to the aliens being so scary in this, as the title would suggest because it's aliens, I love how he changed it to be like an action movie, and yeah, and that in my opinion worked perfectly. It really did, and it made me a very intense ride, and yeah. Because when I saw this movie, I thought it was so sick and brilliant, and yeah. And of course, this movie, like the first movie, also gave us probably one of the greatest sci-fi villains of all time, which is, of course, the Xenomorphs, as they're called, yeah. They're such a great villain, guys, and really scary and terrifying, and yeah, so scary in every way, and yeah. And when it comes to human cast, I really love the cast of the movie, guys. So, for example, I really love Sigourney Weaver as the main character, Ellen Ripley, and yeah. And while she did play her also perfectly in the first movie, in my opinion, guys, I feel in this movie they made her way better than she was before, because they made her an absolute badass, and yeah, she was such a great character in this movie, guys, and one of my favourite female action heroes of all time. But like, in terms of actors, Sigourney Weaver is probably my 3rd favourite actress of all time, after Gina Carano and Linda Hamilton, so yeah, because of the amazing performance as Ripley, like, I can just see her best role, and yeah, mainly because of this movie making such a badass character, especially her famous line she says at the end of the movie, which is, "Get away from her, you know what," so yeah. And as well as that, we also got several new characters. For example, we got introduced to a new character, which is probably my 2nd favourite role of Michael Biehn behind Carl Reese in Terminator, which is Dwayne Hicks. And yeah, Dwayne Hicks is such a great character, guys, and a really great addition to the cast. He's just absolutely awesome. And yeah, I also love the addition as well of Lance Henriksen as Bishop, who is an android above the ship called the Sulaco. Very good character in my opinion, guys, very memorable in my opinion, and I consider to be my favourite role of Lance Henriksen in terms of live action. Voice would of course be General Shepard in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, but yeah, live action always would be Bishop for me, and yeah. I also love the addition as well of Carrie Henn as Newt, who is a little girl who is rescued after her parents unfortunately get face hugged, and yeah, which is a pretty sad scene in my opinion, where we see her father has a face hugger on her, and yeah, and she's left all alone and traumatized. I feel so bad for her. Yeah, poor Newt. And I really loved her chemistry with Ripley. It was really great to watch, guys, and yeah. I also love the score by James Horner, may he rest in peace. He did a very good job of his music, and yeah, I can just be one of his best music scores alongside his music for the first Amazing Spider-Man movie, and yeah, there's other great music he's also done as well. And plus, we got, and as well as the iconic Xenomorphs, guys, we also get introduced to one of the best, you know, like, main villains of all time, which is the Alien Queen. And yeah, As a fun fact, guys, the Alien Queen is the biggest puppet ever made in cinematic history, and yeah. And she required lots of people to operate her, and yeah. And she was such a terrifying creature. Goodness me, she was so scary, and yeah. Like, oh, wow. And it was just so scary, in my opinion, guys. Goodness me. Seeing her. And that was probably the horror element of it, as well as the great action, and yeah. It was so good. And yeah. And of course, as well, other good quality I will say, guys, is that in my opinion, this movie is the perfect ending of the franchise itself, yeah. Because I love how the ending of the movie has the Alien Queen be defeated by being sent into space, and yeah. Because during the fight, you know, they send, the Queen is sent into space, and yeah, which is pretty satisfying, and yeah. And the whole colony is consumed, yeah. Because the Queen stores away on the dropship's landing gear, and yeah. And unfortunately, she does tear Bishop in half, but Ripley fights it with an exosuit, of course, like with the iconic quote, and it gets expelled through airlock into space, and yeah. And then Ripley, Newt, Hicks, and Bishop enter hypersleep to return to Earth, and yeah. And that, in my opinion, guys, is the true end of the franchise. I like to pretend no other movies came after this chronologically, and we'll get to why in a moment, but yeah. So, guys, if I was to rank this movie out of 10, well, guys, to this day, I still give Aliens a flat-out 10 out of 10. Absolute masterpiece in every way. And now we get on to what is my second favourite in the franchise, guys, and my second favourite is going to be for the first movie called Alien, released in 1979, directed by Ridley Scott, and yeah. This movie, in my opinion, is also a masterpiece, guys, like the second movie, but I prefer the second movie, because there's a couple of, like, you know, civil nitpicks I have with the first movie, but it doesn't really, I don't have a problem with it, but yeah. So the pros I have with the first movie is, it has a great cast of really amazing characters, like, obviously you have Ripley, and Sigourney Weaver does a great job as in this movie, and yeah. And I really love Ripley's development of the movie, guys, where she starts off as being a warrant officer who is at first afraid of the aliens, but when as the movie progresses, she fights the alien, and yeah. I really love development in this. I also love his point cast, like Tom Skerritt as Dallas, Veronica Cartwright as Lambert, Harry Dean Stanton as Brett, Sir John Hurt, may rest in peace, as Kane, and Sir Ian Holm as the android called Ash, may rest in peace, and Yaphet Kotto, rest in peace, as Parker, and yeah. Like, really great cast of the characters, guys. They're just entertaining, and of course, the very cute cat called Jones. Yeah, Jones is so adorable, guys. Yeah, I love Jones. And I really, you know, love the introduction of the alien itself, the xenomorph, and the costume is absolutely awesome, which was worn by Bolaji Badejo, I think he's called, yeah. And yeah, they did such a great job with the costume. It looks so awesome and very iconic to this day, in my opinion, as well. Like, this movie is like 43 years old this year, and it still looks amazing, the costume, it truly does. And the sets are also great too. I really love the world building, and you got the iconic ship called Nostromo, really great ship. And also an amazing score composed by Jerry Goldsmith, really amazing music to listen to. You even get the iconic poster, guys, which has the famous tagline, which is "In space, no one can hear you scream." Ooh, it's pretty scary, isn't it? Yeah, very scary. And plus, as a fun fact, guys, there's also a really brilliantly executed scene which was actually improvised, which is Kane's death scene, because he's the crew member that gets face hugged and the alien hatches out of his chest, and yeah. As a fun fact, guys, everyone's reaction to that scene was genuine, yeah, because it was improvised, and yeah, like, goodness me. It's pretty amazing, you know, how that happened, really, and because I'm pretty sure that Lambert's reaction were Cartwright's actual reaction. It was a genuine reaction, so yeah. Like, because we've only seen that actually terrified the actors, and yeah, I can't say blame because it's a very scary scene, and yeah. And if this was another great movie, guys, a masterpiece like the second movie, but I prefer the second movie, and reasons why is, you know, now sure, because it's in the 70s, guys, some of the effects may not hold up very well to the standard of 2022, and I also feel that the music does cut off in some areas, which is a bit disappointing, because it's great music, and plus, I think Dallas was quite reckless as well, because he made quite a foolish decision, which is to go after the alien alone, and yeah. That's a very bad idea, in my opinion, because xenomorphs are very dangerous, and yeah. So I think he was being reckless, but nonetheless, guys, just like the second movie, I still give Alien, to this day, also a 10 out of 10. Yeah. A masterpiece, but still not as good as a second movie. I prefer the second movie by far. And now that ends the best Alien movies, guys. And now we get on to the ones which I think are like okay, but nowhere near as memorable. So my third favourite, guys, is going to have to be the first of the prequels, which is Prometheus, released in 2012, directed again by Ridley Scott, returning for the first time since he directed Alien. So yeah. Now, this movie is good, guys, in my opinion, but nowhere near a masterpiece or as epic as the first two Alien movies, and we'll get to why. So the good qualities is, it has a very good cast, in my opinion, guys. For example, you've got, like, Noomi Rapace as the main character. I thought she was very good as her character. I'm going to be honest, guys. I thought she did a very good job. She was given as Elizabeth Shaw. But my favourite actor in the movie, guys, would have to be Michael Fassbender as the android called David. Like, because Michael Fassbender, guys, is my favourite Irish actor of all time. One of my favourite actors of all time in general. And yeah, I consider David to be one of his best roles. He did such a really amazing job playing David, and was probably the best actor in the movie, in my opinion, guys. And yeah, but I, of course, prefer him strongly way more as Magneto in the X-Men movies, so yeah. But he was still phenomenal what he was given as David. He did such a great job playing David. I also like the addition as well of Charlize Theron as her character. She's my favourite South African actress of all time, guys. I thought she was really good as her character in the movie, as Meredith Vickers. I also like the addition of Idris Elba as Janek, the Prometheus ship's captain. He did also a very, very good job. I also like the addition of Guy Pearce as Peter Weyland. Definitely way better role than Aldrich Killian, in my opinion, guys, from Iron Man 3. Way better than that role, in my opinion. And yeah. But in terms of playing Weyland, I do prefer Lance Henriksen from the Alien vs Predator game. And of course, from the first crossover movie, even though I hate that movie. But yeah, Guy was still a very good choice, in my opinion, for a younger Weyland. And yeah, he still did a very good job. It was given as him. And yeah, the rest of the cast also was good, in my opinion, as well, alongside people like Sean Harris as Fifield, the geologist. Or I like him more in Mission Impossible movies, to be honest, guys. So yeah, as Solomon Lane. And yeah. Also, the movie does have very good visuals for its time, because it's 2012, much later in the years for technology as well, in my opinion. The music is also very good, composed by Mark Streitenfeld. And yeah, and I feel it does have some suspense as well, in my opinion. And yeah. And plus, I also as well, I think the ending is also decent as well, in my opinion, I guess. And yeah, because it was pretty good how it featured like a prototype of the xenomorph in a way, which was pretty cool. Because the character that hatches out at the end, which was looked pretty cool. And yeah, I did like that. I think it's called the Deacon Proto xenomorph, if I remember correctly, Deacon Proto. And it was a really good design, in my opinion, and very promising. And yeah. Unfortunately, the next movie ruined the ending, and yeah, we'll get to that, but yeah. And so yeah, however, when it comes to bad qualities, I think the first thing that I don't really like about the movie is the title, because Prometheus as a title is quite questionable. Doesn't really make very much sense, in my opinion, because it does not connect to the Alien movies at all, so it doesn't make much sense, in my opinion. And yeah. And plus as well, I also think the characters also do very stupid things in the movie. Like, for example, Sean has a character called Fifield. Like, what I think is stupid is he gets lost, even though he's got a map on his arm the whole time. So, really, Fifield? Goodness me. Also, how did the engineer even know where Dr. Shaw was in the climax of the movie? And why was there a shrine to a fully grown xenomorph in the cave when the ending clearly showed a proto-xenomorph called Deacon coming out of the engineer's corpse? So, yeah. And also, if David is an android and has no emotions, why did he spike Holloway's drink? And also, why did he pretend that Weyland was dead the whole time? This is just so confusing, and yeah. Like, despite good performance by the actors, I think the characters do make stupid decisions in the movie. Like, the characters are very ridiculous in the movie. And also, let's not forget the infamous scene where Dr. Shaw and Vickers run away from a giant ship, rolling towards it in a straight line instead of out of its path. And it caused Vickers to be crushed to death. Goodness me. That was just a very dumb scene, in my opinion. And I also feel the movie wasn't as gory as the first two movies either, in my opinion, despite Ridley Scott returning to direct it, which is probably a good thing about it, he returned, but yeah. Nonetheless, though, guys, I think it's an okay movie, and probably the best out of what came out since Aliens, and yeah, so if I was to rank it, I'd give it an 8 out of 10, so yeah. Now we go on to what is my fourth favourite movie, which is the sequel to this movie, which is Alien Covenant, released in 2017, directed again by Ridley Scott. So, and yeah, this movie is still decent in my opinion, guys. Definitely not as bad as what we're going to get to next. all the abysmal crossover with Predator. But yeah, still unfortunately not a very good movie. So yeah, now, but on to good qualities, you know. Once again, Michael Fassbender as David, and also as another character called Walter. He's still probably the best thing out of the movie, because like I said, I think he's the best actor in his 2 prequel movies, guys, and yeah. And I also, when it comes to the new character introduced in the movie, guys, the only one that I like out of the new crew is Tennessee, played by Danny McBride, one of my favourite comedians of all time. Although I do like him way more as his fictional self in This Is The End, and also for his voice work in Mitchell vs. Machines and Kung Fu Panda 2 as well, but yeah. But still, when it comes to this movie, other good quality I will say is, it's also a nice guilty pleasure to see the Xenomorphs return in the full glory, and they do have some pretty gory scenes in my opinion. It was nice to see him return. And the CGI for him wasn't that good in my opinion, but still the designs were really good. And it was nice to see him return. And yeah, and Ridley Scott, of course, returns to direct it. And the music by Jed Kurzel is also good, because at least he included many things by Goldsmith, although he does it a bit too much in my opinion. And yeah. However, on to bad qualities, like, because apart from Tennessee, I didn't really like the human characters. I couldn't care less about them. I thought they weren't that memorable or likable in my opinion. Like, because apart from Walter, David, and Tennessee, I couldn't care less about the new human characters. So yeah. Because once again, just like Prometheus, they make them even more stupid, and that really annoyed me. Like, they kept on making very foolish decisions. Like, for example, when they land on a planet, they don't wear protective gear, and one of them even sticks their face into a face hugger egg. Like, are they really that dumb? Goodness me. And plus, it hardly even connects, because apart from Michael Fassbender returning and also a cameo appearance by Dr. Shaw, this movie hardly at all connects to Prometheus, and the Deacon prototype, you know, from Prometheus ending doesn't even return in this movie at all, which is ridiculous. Doesn't appear and is completely forgotten about. And plus, one of the criminals is played by James Franco, guys, but he's absolutely wasted. Because at the start of the movie, he gets burned alive in his own pod, and yeah, which was a very graphic moment in my opinion. And he only appears as like a video cameo, and that's it. So what way to James Franco? And I feel it's quite boring in many areas as well, which is pretty annoying, but yeah. However, guys, it's still a decent movie, still a good movie, but still nowhere near as epic as the first 2 movies, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. But now we get on to the 2 big bad ones, the ones I absolutely despise and can't stand. So yeah, now. So in 5th place for me, guys, I'm going to be going with, probably was in my opinion, the 2nd worst Alien movie of all time. And it's none other than 1997's Alien Resurrection. Oh my god, I hate this movie. This movie directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet. It is, in my opinion, absolutely terrible, guys. But not as bad as the next movie on the list. But yeah, so, like, I guess probably the only good quality I could say is that Sigourney Weaver as Ripley is still does a good job in my opinion. She still does the best she can as Ripley. Although in my opinion, they did mistreat Ripley quite a lot in the movie, which I did not like. Mainly because of what happens to in Alien 3, which we'll get to when we're talking about that. And yeah. And I will also say as well, practical effects are also decent as well in some areas. Like, some of them are quite good in my opinion. And the music composed by John Frizzell is also good as well in my opinion. But still nowhere near as memorable as the music from the first 2 movies in my opinion. And plus, the main reason why I prefer this over the next movie is probably mainly because of Ron Perlman, who is in this movie as a soldier called Ron Joyner. Like, in my opinion, he's the only likeable new character in the movie for me. Probably my favourite character in the movie aside from Ripley herself, because he was probably the only likeable character. He was very entertaining, and yeah, like, why don't you just make a movie about him teaming up with Ripley, you know? Because yeah, when it comes to bad qualities, guys, you know, the first thing I could say is this movie is unnecessary, like, because like I said before, guys, Aliens perfectly wrapped up the story and gave the characters closure, and the previous movie ended on a very sour note because something very bad happens to Ripley, which we'll get to when talking about that. And yeah. And in this movie, guys, Ripley gets cloned. And she's somehow cloned with a xenomorph queen chest burster growing inside of her. And in this movie, because of this, she barely acts like the Ripley we know. And it's so weird and uncomfortable to watch. It's just ridiculous. Like, she felt so different to this movie, guys, compared to before. And the movie also can get really boring in many areas because of very slow pacing, in my opinion, and yeah. And not only that as well, but We even get, even more unlikable supporting characters. For example, I did not like Winona Ryder as the android called Annalie Call. Like, she's so incredibly annoying as hell, guys. I cannot stand her at all. Like, I like Winona Ryder way more as Joyce on Stranger Things, but I cannot stand her in this movie. She was so incredibly annoying as hell. I hated her character, guys. She really got on my nerves. Like, she ruined the movie, in my opinion, and yeah. So, like, I think her and also Ripley being mistreated as being, like, with an alien queen inside of her, like, how did she even that happen? Like, it's just ridiculous. What happened in this movie? It's just so stupid. And yeah, and I also feel it's not even as scary either. And plus, the character called a newborn is also really cringe to look at. Looks absolutely disgusting to see, really. Goodness me. And also, this movie, guys, was written by Joss Whedon, and yeah, his one-liners are very annoying to listen to, and yeah. And I, of course, despise him because of the way he mistreated Zack Snyder and the casting crew of Justice League, and yeah, I hate Joss Whedon, so I have no respect for him. And yeah. So, however, because of Scott Pilgrim's performance, and also when it comes to her characters, I think Ron Jones is probably the only likable character, played by Ron Perlman, and practical effects and the music. I give this movie a very bad 4 out of 10, so yeah, still a crap movie, but yeah. But not as bad as we're going to get to next. And guys, in last place for me, we go on to what is probably, in my opinion, the absolute worst alien movie ever. And it's none other than 1992's Alien 3. I absolutely despise this movie, guys. I consider it to be probably one of the worst sci-fi horror movies of all time in general. And it absolutely sucks. Directed by poor David Fincher. So yeah, I feel really bad for David Fincher, guys. So yeah, poor him. However, when it comes to good qualities of movie, I guess probably that even though, in my opinion, they made Ripley an absolutely unlikable character in the movie, Scott still did the very best she could as her with what she was given, and yeah. And even though the music kept cutting off in many areas, as I noticed, I did like Elliot Goldenthor's music. I thought it was very good to listen to and quite suspenseful, even though it kept cutting out. And yeah, and I also as well thought the concept of an alien being, like a 4-legged alien runner was quite a decent concept where it's like, it runs on all 4 limbs this time as like a new change. I thought that was like a nice little change, how it made the alien different to the others before, but onto very bad qualities. So I think I'm going to give a card of the bad guys and say that the movie literally dies when the movie kills off Newt and Hicks at the start. Like, that was probably one of the worst directions I've ever seen in my life. Like, how could you kill off 2 beloved characters like that? And do it in one of the stupidest ways possible. Like, aliens gave them perfect closure and you just had to kill them off by dying in the crash landing on Fiorina 161. Oh my god. And not only that, but they also made Ripley a very unlikable character, guys. Like, because instead of being a badass like in Aliens, she's a whiny in this movie. She always whines and complains all the time, and I hated that. Like, that was so annoying to watch. I didn't like that at all. And I think it's probably because Connery was like part of, like, a group which was, like, about anti-weapons at the time. But, still, like, couldn't you have, like, accepted this was just a fiction and not real life? And, like, just, took part in the movie? Goodness me. And not only that as well, but one of the reasons why they ruined Ripley is also because at the end of the movie, guys, they kill her off. Because out of nowhere, guys, she's got an alien chestburster inside her. And, like, how did she get one in her? She never got face hugged at all. Like, that's probably one of the worst plot holes ever. Oh my god. Like, how did an alien egg even appear on the Solarco at the beginning of the movie? That's just absolutely ridiculous. And like, the idea of Ripley killing herself is just so far-fetched and ridiculous. Oh my god. Like, I hated that. And, like, the movie also wasn't as scary as the first 2. Like, because in my opinion, this movie was so incredibly boring. Like, even more boring than Resurrections. Because at least Resurrection had action in the movie. This movie did not. Because it was so boring. And also, guys, in the trailer, the narrator says on Earth, everyone can hear you scream. But it doesn't even take place on Earth. It takes place on a random planet where there's a prison. And yeah, like, and the prison concept was just ridiculous, guys. And the entire supporting cast was just so unlikable, in my opinion. And, like, oh my god. Like, this was just an absolutely abysmal movie, guys, and it ruined the franchise for me, personally, and yeah, I hated it, and yeah. That's why, as far as I'm concerned, guys, Alien franchise is only the first 2 movies, and that's it. The prequels are okay, in my opinion, but in my opinion, a much better prequel than more 2 movies, Prometheus and Alien Covenant, is the game called Alien Isolation. That is a way better prequel, in my opinion, because at least it preserves the same amount of, you know, heart as the first 2 movies, and yeah, and a way better connection to them. Whereas those movies didn't really do that, in my opinion. Like, because if you get Alien Isolation, then the first movie, and then Alien, you've got a pretty epic, perfect trilogy right there. So that's how it works for me. But yeah. Nonetheless, guys, because I despise Alien 3 and I absolutely hate that movie with a burning passion, I'm going to give it a very bad 2 out of 10 because, in my opinion, it absolutely sucked. And yeah. And whenever I do a marathon of the Alien movies, guys, I only watch the first 2 movies and that's it. I don't watch any others because, in my opinion, it only works as, you know, those 2 movies and that's it. So, guys, this video my Alien ranking. So number 1 best would be Aliens. Second place would be Alien. Third place would be Prometheus. Fourth place would be Alien Covenant. Fifth place would be Alien Resurrection. And last place, and definitely in least place, Alien 3. So, yeah. So, you know, drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to leave in the comments how you guys would rank the Alien movies, what you guys would rank them. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for movies coming in the future. If you'd like to be a member, you can press join me, please, also in the description, and I'll see you all later.